All right, let's go ahead and get in here. All right, let's go ahead and get in. I.S.U.P.K Canada, going live here for class. All right, back up live. We were covering the ending of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Hopefully, you brothers and sisters, you understand the meaning and the importance of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. When we went over it in classes prior, we also went over it last week in the book of Leviticus. All right, it's a high holy day that all Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians born are supposed to keep. If you can hear me, if you can see me, press 1. If you can hear and see, press 1. All right, if you can hear and see, press 1. Bear with me 1 second. All right. Go ahead and sign in on that sign-in link. Sign in on the sign-in link so I know who in the hell is in the class. All right. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get it started. If there are any questions, go ahead and ask them now. All right, if there are any questions, go ahead and ask them now. I'm Precinct Officer 1000 Abun, holding down the class here for I.S.U.P.K Canada. Okay, bear with me 1 second. If you have questions, type them in. Again, questions, type them in. If you can hear and see, press 1. If you can hear and see, press 1. All right. Shalom, Akim in the chat, the water. We got ones, we got ones, we got ones. All right, we're going to go ahead and get it started. We're going to wrap it up. This Officer 1000 Abun, we're going to cover the class today. Today's class is talking about a very prolific topic. It's talking about this topic through the Lord's perspective. Through the Lord's perspective, the so-called white man, woman, and child on the planet Earth is the migrant. They are the vagabonds. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. I gotta get the live back up. Blah. Okay. Boom. Boom. YouTube, bear with me 1 second. Gotta get the Facebook back up. All right. Adiyar, True Barakiala, go ahead and get in here. Send you the invites. I'll send them to you again. All right, for the class. Are we still live? The live's still on. Go ahead and let me know. All right. I think we're live anymore. Okay. Okay, so I guess the live's still up. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get it started. The so-called white man in Canada, he is the real migrant. All right. So-called white man in America, so-called white man in Germany, so-called white man all over the planet Earth, he is the migrant. And we're going to prove that using the scriptures. All right. All throughout America, all throughout Canada, and in our countries that we come from in the present time, Haiti, South America, Central America, we're told that we're the migrants. We're told that we're the vagabonds. When God called the white man a vagabond, God called the white man a migrant. You understand? We're going to prove that in the Bible. All right. This is the book of Genesis chapter 4 and verse 16. And it's like this is Genesis chapter 4 and verse 9. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 9. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I knew it not. Am I my brother's keeper? That's the first scripture I wanted to get on in this class. A lot of Christians use the term, I am my brother's keeper, as a term of endearment towards their brother, as a term of love to their brother, when that's not what in the hell it was. Cain was saying this, first of all, okay? I wouldn't want to mock anything that Cain said, because Cain had a piss poor attitude, just like the so-called white man. The so-called white man, when he loses his job, he loses his money, he's going to kill his entire family. He's going to run into the mosque, kill the mosque. He's going to make a 74-page manifesto about how he hates people, okay? And he's going to shoot up your movie theater. All right, that's what the so-called white man, woman, and child is going to do, man. And it's showing through the school shootings. It's showing through the events going on in Canada. It's showing through the history of the white man in Canada. The so-called white man in Canada dominates the nation, most of which he doesn't even use. There's a ton of land in Canada that's not being used. Like we said earlier, outside of Montreal, it's a goddamn wasteland. Okay? But he's saying, am I my brother's keeper here in this verse? Just like the so-called white man in Canada saying to the North American Indians, I mean, you know, we're sorry for what happened. Sorry. I'm sorry for colonization. Sorry. My bad. When the Arabs flew the planes into the Twin Towers, there was no my bad. There was blood, okay? And the so-called white man, he was right for wanting blood, meaning justice. He was right for wanting justice for what had happened, because an injustice was done to him. Well, the white man in Canada has done an injustice to blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and God is going to do something to him because of it, just like he had done to Cain. All right, and the mark of Cain exudes itself in the so-called white man. All right, it's shown in the so-called white man through his characteristics, through his history in Canada and all across the world. All right, but in Genesis chapter 4 verse 9, Cain said to the Lord, all right, to an angel of the Most High, specifically, he said, am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? Bear with me 1 second. All right. Blah. Question on the brothers are in yet. Okay. All right. Officer Adi will be in shortly. All right. In the meantime, go ahead and read. Sir. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 9. Cain said, am I my brother's keeper? That's what he said. Am I my brother's keeper? That is not a term of endearment. That is a term of, that is Cain being smart, getting smart with the Most High. You get my point? Getting smart with the Most High. Just like the so-called white man does. Scoffs and laughs at anything that may come and destroy him, that may come and kill him. Scoffs at anything that he even thinks of as higher than himself. You understand? Space exploration. He's scoffing at he's laughing at the limits of space. Telling you we're going to get to Jupiter, we're going to get to this galaxy and that galaxy, making different materials to launch out in outer space to do a whole lot of nothing. You get my point? To do a whole lot of nothing. So it's another way he vaunts himself up or puffs up his chest and gets smart with the Most High. All these scientific discoveries that are against what the Lord laid down in the scriptures. A man didn't come from a goddamn monkey. We can prove that. Let me get I'm getting 1 Corinthians. All right, this book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 40. Bear with me 1 second. All right. Because the white man, Charles Darwin, says that species, they evolve and they become new species. They become totally different creatures, and that's a lie according to the Bible. We're going to prove it. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. The so-called white man looking for, what is he looking for? Aliens in outer space. And who else? He's looking for the Klingon and Captain Kirk. Okay? Like a damn Star Trek episode, like a damn cartoon. He's telling people on Earth that there are little green men running around, okay, with toy laser beams, all right, butt naked, running around and doing random experiments. Well, that's not what's out there. What's out there is terrifying black men, okay? Some with 4 faces, some looking like young men, some this tall, some as big as the damn ocean. There are celestial bodies. Celestial bodies are what you know as the angels, and they're not bound by physical law. Okay, you can't make yourself an inch taller, an inch shorter. They can get as big as they want, as small as they want. Those are bodies celestial. And then there are bodies terrestrial. Celestial, meaning things pertaining to the stars. Terrestrial, things pertaining to terra, or land. You get my point? Those are 2 separate things. What does the Christian church say? Christian church says, when you die, you're going to get your angel's wings. I'm waiting on my angel's wings. Paul said, you're not going to get any goddamn angel's wings. Okay? Black man, Hispanic man, Native American, Indian man. That's a lie from the Catholic Church, which is run by the so-called white man, the devil. Les hommes blancs is le diable. Okay? Les hommes blancs is le diable. The white man is the devil. All right? That's what he is. He's the liar. He's the deceiver. You're not going to die and get angel's wings and float, whatever the hell that means. Okay? You're not going to die and become an angel. Your mom that died, she didn't become a guardian angel. She didn't become any of that. Angels are totally separate beings from men, from humanity, from humans. But they are men in terms of they have the spirit of men. There are no female angels. All right? There are no female demons. All of those things. The celestial bodies are male. Terrestrial bodies are male and female. All right? Let's continue reading. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. Right? The glory of the celestial, the glory of the angels is one. An angel can stand in the sun. Like you said, an angel can come down as a homeless man. He can come down 8 feet tall with 4 heads, okay, surrounded by an inside of a vehicle, all right, the size of a yellow school bus that you know of as a flying saucer. That's in the book of Ezekiel, the 1st chapter, and the 5th verse to the 7th verse, and elsewhere in that chapter. All right, the angels can take whatever form they want. They have a glory. All right. And the glory of the terrestrial is another. Right. And man has their own glory. Man has a glory that they're able to attain to. A man can start a family. A man can get a woman pregnant and bring new life, if you will, back into the earth. Back into the earth. All right. Which angels cannot do. Angels don't get sexual arousal. You get my point? Angels don't wake up with morning wood. All right. That's not what angels do. Now, the so-called white man, again, the Catholic Church lied and said that an angel got Mary pregnant. How did your mother become pregnant? How did your woman become daughter? Whoever. Name a woman that's in your life, or a woman that you know. How did they get pregnant? Through an angel touching them? Hell no. They got pregnant through the pleasure that comes with sleep, also known as sexual intercourse, man. Sexual intercourse is what brings new life into the world. Okay, with people. You get my point? Like, there is no immaculate conception. That's a damn lie. Why? Because the glory of the celestial is one. The glory of the terrestrial is another. 2 totally separate things. All right? Verse 41. There is one glory of the sun, another of the moon. Right. The sun has certain properties. Right. It does. The sun is a star. And then the glory of the... Bear with me 1 second. All right, good to see you all. Can you get me give me Genesis chapter 4 verse 9? I'm going to read in 1 Corinthians. We're breaking down right now the so-called white man being the true migrant on the earth. All right, being the true vagabond. All throughout the news on CNN, on CBC, in Canadian news, they're worried about the so-called Mexicans that are migrating from Mexico. When God said in the book of Genesis that a man named Cain would be a vagabond and a fugitive, and Cain's seed lives on through the so-called white man. The so-called white man has the mark of Cain, and he performs the attributes of Cain. All right, and he's a murderer just like Cain was. All right, we're going to keep reading. And another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. The stars, sun, etc. differ from one another. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. I'm going to skip back up to verse 39. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 39. Verse 30, it's like 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 37. And that which thou sowest not that body that shall be. Right? When you take grain, you put it into the ground, you don't, that's not the grain itself, right? When you take an orange seed, you plant it, you didn't pick up a damn orange tree, right, and shove it into the earth. That's not how you grow orange trees. You took an orange seed. That orange seed, that's not the body that it's going to become. You get my point? The seed that comes out of a man, the sperm that comes out of a man, that's not the body that it'll be formed, but that's how things are planted. You get my point? Seeds are different from the fruit that it produces in many cases. You get my point? Eggplant, etc. Many things that produce seeds are different from the things they produce. Even potatoes. You plant a potato, you get the morning shade leaves and the flowers, and then you get the other potato roots that grow that stem from that potato that you planted. All right. And that which thou sowest not that body that shall be. You don't sow the body that shall be, right? Your father didn't have sex with your mother and you came out and went into her, okay, the way you are now. You get my point? Came out as a seed, and from that seed you grew. An orange seed came in as a seed, and from that seed it grew. That's how life works, okay? Not a damn monkey, okay, learns to walk, straightens his back out, okay, does P90X, gets a shave, and then becomes a damn human. That's not how life works. That's not reality. It is reality in the white man's scientific world, but the Lord said this: the things that are highly exalted in this world are base, are nothing to the Most High. Why are they nothing to the Most High? Because it means nothing. It's not true. Evolution, as it's taught, is a lie. All right? Let me keep reading. But bear grain, it may chance of wheat or some other grain. But God giveth it a body as it pleased him, as it hath pleased him. And to every seed his own body. Right. So you're a seed, you have your own body. All right. That body the Lord made for you. There is no such thing as a man trapped in a woman's body. And you've heard that before. All right. So-called Canadians live in a liberal society. All right. A demonic society run by the devil, the so-called white man. And it's okay to say you're a man trapped in a woman's body, when all that is a very violent demon or a deep mental illness that's on that person. Okay, anyone that is born a certain way, that is going against what they are naturally born as, is out of order. They got a few screws loose. They're short-circuited. Okay, just like your appliance, when it's out of order, you go and throw it the hell out. That's what they are. They're out of order. They're ill. All right. The Lord giveth it a body, the seed a body as it pleases him. How you are, how short you are, etc., is determined by the Most High. All right. Bear with me 1 second. Verse 39. All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another kind of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds. So all flesh is not the same flesh. Man has a certain flesh. Birds have a different flesh. They have a different flesh. Can they become the same thing? Can I take bread? Can I take this book and turn it into a turkey breast? Hell no. Can I take this book, and if I think hard enough and I apply evolution, it'll turn into a beetle? Hell no. That's a damn lie. That's idiotic. You understand? But the so-called white man vaunts himself up as he is God. Why? Because he's been doing it since the time of Cain. Cain said what in Genesis 4:9? He said, am I my brother's keeper? Do I have to, am I supposed to, see where my brother is? He's been a liar and a damn arrogant and proud bastard his entire existence. Trooper Bakwashi, read Genesis chapter 9 and 4 and verse 9. It's like.
4 and verse 9. Genesis chapter 4, verse 9. Lord said unto Cain, "Where is Abel thy brother?" And he said, I know not my brother's keeper.
Right. He said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? Okay. He said, am I my brother's keeper? Do I have to keep my brother? The Christian church uses brother's keeper to mean, no, they don't use that. What the Christian church does is they respond to what Cain asked. But first of all, this is Cain asking the question. So it's not coming from any angle, okay, of righteousness. It's not coming from any angle of righteousness. Why? Because Cain asked it. Cain is a murderer, all right? He's not asking this to repent. He's asking this to be smart, if you will. And what Christians do is they answer that and say, I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. And that's not a term of brotherhood. That's not a term we use. That's a Christian term. How do we know it's not a term that applies to anything dealing with brotherhood? One of the movies that it was used in heavily, one of the movies that people, is a movie called New Jack City, where the one cat said, I am my brother's keeper. That cat went on to kill his brothers, and I think like everybody in the movie. You get my point? I am my brother's keeper. That's not a term of brotherhood. All right, that's a term answering what Cain said when Cain didn't have an ounce of brotherhood or love for his brother in it. All right, just want to clear that up. Officer Adiyar, get me Genesis chapter 4, verse 10.
Canada Wakan.
Holmes, yeah, Kwasha, you're coming in much more clearly now. You were a little foggy earlier. Go on. Can you read verse 10 for me, Baba Kushak? Trooper Kwasha?
Khan. This is Genesis 4 and verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
He said, what hast thou done? The Lord said unto Cain, what have you done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. What does that mean? Who knows? Anybody know? Officer Adi, are you going to give a stab at it?
Does that mean that God seen what Cain did?
Of course, God saw what Cain did, but why did he say, thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground?
Because he murdered his brother, and the blood of his brother was crying to the Lord, like asking for justice.
That's it. The blood of his brother was crying to the Lord, asking for justice. That was done. That was not answered. You get my point? Cain had just murdered his brother, and the blood from that murder, it was like it was crying up to the Lord. I mean, that blood on the ground, that's a sign that I should do something. It's crying to me. You get my point? It's like your son, right? Or your daughter, or someone that's young in your family. They want something, and they're crying to you, pleading with you to get you to do what? To get you to give up whatever it is they're asking for. You get my point? That blood is a sign that an injustice was committed, a murder, a violent a killing, right? This was a premeditated murder. It was just committed. And that blood was a sign. That blood was a sign that judgment had to happen. That injustice, a violent act that occurred, that had to be answered. That's what the Lord's talking about when he's saying, thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Tons of murders today have gone unanswered by the so-called white man. Hey, he murdered to get Canada. Killed, raped, robbed, and murdered the North American Indians to get Canada. Destroyed brothers in Toronto, in the Canadian prison system, in the American prison system, forget it. And the American police forces, forget it. Our blood cries unto the Lord. Imagine how it must be now to the Most High. The amount of blood that these devils they've spilled. All right. Read on.
This is verse 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which shall open up her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand.
Now thou art cursed from the earth, okay, which receiveth the blood that you spilled. Read on.
Verse 12. When thou tillest the soil, the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength to
right.
fugitive.
Go ahead.
A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
All right, stop that, or stop right there. The Lord said to Cain that thou will be cursed from the earth. Cursed in this verse means separated, or accursed, if you will, meaning he would be separated from the earth. Meaning the earth would not yield her fruits unto him, if you will. When you plant things in the earth, they're supposed to grow much more abundantly than they do. The so-called white man runs what? To curtail or to stop the amount of crops that are dying. Does anyone know? What are some big names? What are some things the so-called white man is trying to do with crops? Just run them all.
GMO, sir.
GMO, True Quasha, you got any?
I was going to say that with Monesto, they made certain seeds to whenever they bloom, the seeds that come from that fruit or plant or whatever can't reproduce.
Right. GMO, so-called genetic engineering, modifying seeds, crop dusting, spraying. He does all of these things. Why? Because the earth is not giving forth her yield. Like the Lord isn't government. The Lord wouldn't make a place that you have to spray goddamn DHT, DDT, okay, and the goddamn people's elbow onto to get it to be fertile. All these damn acronyms. The Lord wouldn't make a place where you have to work in a lab, make something unnatural, synthetic, artificial, to spray on something that's natural. That's not what the Lord made the earth to be. The white man sprays, the white man genetically modifies, the white man genetically engineers, because the earth does not give forth their increase. Like if he wouldn't do those things, the earth would not be able to produce enough food for the people that's on it. Not because the earth is too small, doesn't have enough resources. It's because of what he has done on the earth. Okay? It's because of what he has done on earth. The scriptures say in Psalms 107, the Lord maketh the land a wilderness for the wickedness that's done therein. Because of the wickedness that's been done therein, because we will be cast out. Many lands are being deforested and destroyed because of the wickedness of them that don't dwell therein. The scriptures say what? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Who runs the earth? Let's get that. Officer Shadi, give me Job 9:24. Read the last verse you just read. Read it again.
Khan, verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth.
Right. The earth, the world, the land does not give forth her yield. That's why they're spraying and using these seeds that when you grow them, the fruit they produce isn't even goddamn fertile. They splice in. They're also splicing salmon. Brothers and sisters, you got to be careful with some of the salmon. I'll do the research myself and disseminate it, release it when I do research. But there are reports that they're going to start splicing salmon with something unclean. I don't remember what it was, but that would make salmon unclean. You get my point? In the scriptures, there's a law saying to not mingle your seed, all right, when you till upon the ground. I'm paraphrasing, all right? Meaning, when you had a crop, the crop was supposed to just be corn. The crop was just supposed to be tomatoes. The crop was just supposed to be potatoes. They were supposed to be separate. That law is twofold. First, it's so that when you're selling your product, you're selling the best corn. Because when you start mixing, one of the problems that can arise when you start mixing crops, some crops take different nutrients from the soil that other crops might need, versus when you have just one corn area, the nutrients that are going to be sucked out of the earth are going to be uniform. You get my point? Versus, the white man's got this here, that, and on the seed level, you're not supposed to mix the seed itself. Why? Because if I go and take that seed and sell it as a corn seed, it's not actually a corn seed. It's a goddamn corn seaweed algae thing. You get my point? It's a corn, alfalfa, and fish mix. And I'm not selling it as corn. That's the point of the law. Also, the law where it says thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse fabrics. You familiar with that? Yeah, that's not talking. That doesn't mean you can't wear a polyester and cotton shirt. Because that's not what the law is talking about. The law is not pointless, and the law is not religious. The law has real implications. The implications of that, or the reasoning for that, is business. You get my point? It's a law pertaining to business. Think of it like that, and brotherhood. Why? Again, because if I make a fabric, boop, 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 and I sell it to you, it's polyester, it's a damn football jersey. I'm cheating you, and the Lord made it so that you wouldn't be allowed to cheat and be underhanded, okay, in your business towards your brother. All right, but towards the heathens, you can put on usury and all that. I'm gonna make sure, you understand, Lord's will. I'm gonna make sure they get into some credit card debt they never leave. Okay, but you can't put your brother through usury. I'm saying all that to say this: the so-called white man is splicing, changing the fish, okay, spraying the crops, mixing the seeds, storing all the heirloom seeds in the damn Arctic because the earth does not give forth their increase. Grapes are supposed to be as big as a damn 8-ounce cup. That's the true size of grapes. Apples, all those fruits and vegetables are supposed to be much larger than they are now. How do we know that? The earth, like we said before, the earth was made to feed the people on it. The idea that the earth is overpopulated is a lie. The idea that there's not enough water. How the hell is there not going to be enough water in a place that's 70% water? I don't understand that. Right. The earth is mostly water, but they're going to run out of water? No, I think there's nuclear waste. I think there's dead bodies of people you murdered, and uranium in the damn water. I ran out of water. The so-called white man, while he's in charge, the earth does not give forth their increase. The earth does not give forth its increase. That's why people have to migrate. That's why there's starvations and famines here and there, because the so-called white man is ruling, and when he would rule, the earth would not produce as it should produce. All right, continue. Finish that last part on fugitive and a vagabond.
That was it on that one. Verse 13.
No, read fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be. Is it in that verse?
It's in that verse, sir. A fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth.
The Lord said, a fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be. Remember, Cain murdered his brother Abel. There's no Abel on the scene. All right. Of Adam's family, Cain is one of the only sons that's listed after he murdered Abel. But they had, we can suppose that they had other children. I can't teach that because the scriptures don't necessarily say it. But these are the children that were named, Cain and Abel. Cain murdered Abel. Cain said, am I my brother's keeper? The Lord said, no problem. The earth is not going to give forth their increase, and a fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be. What is a fugitive? Who knows?
Someone who want to run from the law.
Someone that's running from the law. Officer Adia, you agree?
That's exactly what I was going to say, sir.
God, that's excellent. Someone that's running away from the law. Someone that is escaping judgment. And the so-called white man is escaping judgment. It's in his damn policy. You understand? You can't judge, you understand, a homosexual. But a man that wants to get married to more than one woman, oh, no. Got to stop that. You got to stop thrusting, throwing your hips everywhere. You understand? You nasty. You two sexed up. All you're thinking about is sex. You need to get your mind out of the gutter when you're thinking about having more than one woman. Of course, not having sex with more than one woman at once, because that's not what we're teaching here. All right, but having more than one wife. Everybody understand the difference?
You
want to make sure that's absolutely known. Threesomes are against the law. All right. In any event, having more than one woman, you want to do that. The white man's like, oh, you got to get your mind out of the gutter. Meanwhile, they got freaks and homosexuals walking down Yonge Street in Toronto. Freaks and homosexuals flourishing in Montreal. But you got to get your mind out of the gutter. You just so low. You're an animal. You're a horn dog. That's what the white man pushes. That's what he teaches, because he's a fugitive and a vagabond. He's constantly running away from the Lord's judgment. The Lord is going to judge him for pushing homosexuality and strip clubs and weed and ecstasy across the planet Earth. The Lord is going to judge him for all the criminality that he indulges in Montreal. You heard they got some mafia cat they shot in where is that, Laval?
Laval.
You heard of that?
Guns.
Yeah. Now think about it. They're bringing all the drugs in Montreal. We go to Montreal a lot. There is nothing outside that goddamn city. I've never been in a city where there's like no suburban area. You go we went 10 minutes back south, outside of Laval on that whatever highway that is. Brother, there is nothing out there. You mean to tell me you don't know where the drugs are coming from? Give me a damn break. You get my point? There's only 3 ways to get to the damn city, and nobody lives outside the damn city. They're responsible for pushing all those damn drugs into Montreal, man. Those criminals, those fugitives, those vagabonds. The white man is constantly running from judgment. Constantly. How does he run from judgment? He'll tell you, no, I'm not the Edomite. Let's get away with those biblical names. What's another thing they teach in Christianity? That what do they say? The races that were the Moabites and the Edomites, all those people were dead. I don't know if you've heard of that, but in the many Christian churches, they teach that those biblical races, they all died off. That's what he does. That's what he says to escape justice. The white man says, no, forget about slavery, Negroes. Haitians, we gave you Montreal. Tu me déflé? Would you like some snail? We'll invite you to Paris. You can come to Paris and be a second-class citizen in Paris, Haitian. West Indian will make reggae big. We'll bring resorts to your beaches. You can't go to them. If you go to the resorts, we'll shoot you in the goddamn face and blow your head off. But we'll make resorts on your islands. Give me a damn break. He's a damn fugitive. He's constantly running from the Lord's judgment. And he's a vagabond. Now, who knows what a vagabond is? Anyone answer?
Someone that doesn't have no home, sir.
Someone that has no home. What's another word for vagabond?
A drifter?
A drifter. Come on. There's a perfect word you can say based on what's going on in the news, based on
migrant.
Migrant. That's excellent. Give him a hand. Migrant. But God said that Cain is a fugitive and he is a vagabond, a migrant. The Lord calls the so-called white man the illegal immigrant. If you're a fugitive, you're running from what? Justice. If you're running from justice, you're immigrating, you're coming into other lands illegally. The Most High Power calls the so-called Caucasian in Canada the illegal immigrant. The Most High God calls the so-called white man in France the illegal immigrant. In Haiti, the illegal immigrant. The so-called white man in Germany, the illegal immigrant. The so-called white man in Spain, the illegal immigrant. The white man in America, in Canada, you are the illegal immigrant. Okay, not the so-called Mexicans. Officer Adier, can you give me a scripture about Israelites being scattered into all lands? Anyone?
Constant.
One in Jeremiah, something like that. You see, so-called white man, we're going to correct you because you're so goddamn dumb. So dumb and stupid, all right? Europe is not your homeland, all right? America is not your homeland. Canada is not your homeland, all right? The so-called Mexicans are walking, moving about, and immigrating into places because they've been cast off by the Most High Power. We're getting punished for our sins against the Most High Power. Those so-called Mexicans, they're not supposed to be walking around looking for a place to live. The earth is theirs, man. That's what the Lord said. Israel is the Lord's portion. And the Lord, doesn't he control the world? The earth, he put it together. The Lord gave us the earth, man, to walk around it. No Israelite should have to show up his goddamn, get a damn visa to come into a foreign country. The earth is ours. But we're living under these people because of a punishment that the Lord is setting up upon us. Mexicans aren't migrating because they're slow, because they're dumb, because they can only work menial jobs. Mexicans are migrating because they've been punished by the Most High Power. And that's quite a relief. You know why that's a relief? That's a relief because if we've been punished by the Most High Power, the Most High can get us out of it. Because if it was all the white man, we'd never get out of it. We'd all be gone. Okay? We're going to read about why the Mexicans are migrating in the first place. Okay, to you so-called white people. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 10.
Go ahead.
Hear the word of the Lord, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off.
Right, declare it in the isles afar off. Go ahead.
Another one gone. And say, he that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him.
Right, he that scattered Israel, he that scattered Israel. Okay, who's speaking in this verse? the Most High. Who is he speaking about? The Israelites. What would happen to the Israelites? They would be scattered, so-called white man. He thinks it's because of him. Our CIA, our civil wars were so great. We didn't murder them so well. They got MS-13. They just killing each other. That's not why all that's going on. All that's going on is because we're cursed by our power. The Most High is what scattered the so-called Mexicans up into the United States, into Canada, and into other places. The Most High power was what brought some Native American Indians over to Spain, into France, to serve as slaves in France in the 1700s. The Most High power is who brought the Native American Indians across the Trail of Tears, etc., by the hand of the so-called white man. But the so-called white man took it, and he went too goddamn far. He went too far. Because of that, he's going to get cut off, cut down, all right, like a tree. Read the scripture again.
Another one come. Jeremiah, verse 31, chapter 31, verse 10. Hear the word of the Lord, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him.
He that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him. Right now, we might gather under what? Nation of Islam. We might gather underneath the what? Bloods, the Crips, the NFL, the NBA, Google. What are some other places we gather? The corner, in a drug posse. We might gather in those things. The football team, the basketball team. We might gather in those things, but none of those things are of the Lord, of the Most High. And so what's going to happen is it's going to come to nothing. Going to be in some tights, getting tackled up and down a damn field for some devil that goes to a damn salon and gets blown on. Okay, like Robert Kraft, going to massage parlors and having sex in the nastiest type of ways, even though he's a goddamn billionaire. And if he walked up to a woman, okay, he could court her and marry her. It's beyond me. But he's a white man is a perverse, disgusting fornicator, like the scripture says. We're going to play for him. Our bodies are going to be broken. We're going to have to take needles up our anuses, for lack of better terms. Needles up the anuses of painkillers, all right, to go run up and down on a football field for a man that's 5'4", 110 pounds, soaking wet. Okay, never played a down of sports in his damn life. All right, has no athletic bone in his body, but he's going to rule over us. That didn't happen by his hand. That happened by the Lord's hand, by the Most High's hand. All right? The Most High is the one that scattered us. And he's the one that's going to bring us together. The Lord is what's going to solve the Mexican migrant problem, if you're going to call it a problem. The Lord is the one that's going to bring the Mexicans and the Central Americans and the Haitians and the so-called Negro and the so-called Venezuelans together as one. All right? Trooper Bakwashi, what scripture do you have?
I'm still on Genesis 4.
Read verse 13.
Khan. Verse 13. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
My punishment is greater than I can bear. Cain said he couldn't handle it, like he can't handle a goddamn thing. The white man can't handle the depression, the recession, the drug overdose. Okay? Nothing. Read on.
Khan. Verse 14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I hide.
Right. He's driven him from the face of the earth. He's running off the what? The face of the earth. Where can you go on the earth to not be on the face of the earth? In the caves, in the mountains. What does the white man call himself? A Neanderthal. Isn't that that's what he says humanity came from? No, that's where you came from, so-called white man. You were in the caves, bashing skulls in and eating the brains of your grandfather. You were the one that was eating breakfast out of your grandfather's skull. Okay? In their natural state, these so-called white people, they eat Cheerios out of old Pappy's skull. Okay? And the so-called white man is going to get barbaric before your eyes in Canada soon. Very soon, you're gonna hear of evil on a level that you're gonna have to see the video. Like, wait a minute. You're gonna get the news report. They did what? No, I don't believe that. I mean, it's going to be eating people, all kinds of. He's going to come to his fruition, because that's who he is according to the scriptures: a fugitive and a vagabond, a perverse fornicator, and the devil the Bible speaks of. All right. Read on.
Shalom Khan. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
Mhm.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
Everyone that finds me shall slay me. Everyone that finds him shall slay him. Why would they slay him? Because he deserves to die.
That's right.
He deserves to die. And the so-called white man, everybody knows he deserves to die. The Chinese, the Japanese, forget about it. Imagine you walking your daughter to school and boom, you hear a bright flash and a goddamn nuclear bomb go off. You going to clear the wreckage. You see your grandmom burnt to a crisp like this. She burnt. She char black.
Her image on the wall.
Her image on the wall. Right. Buddha's vaporized. That little Buddha, those little apples. They in Japan, they go up to a hill, they'll bite an apple, put the apple on an altar, and worship that apple. I saw it with my own eyes. I said, my God, those are some idiots. The Ammonites, so-called Japanese. That little apple they worship, that toe, all right, those samurai swords, all that got burnt to a crisp. You tell me he doesn't want to kill him? No, I think any person would. North Korea, South Korea, you know how many families got split up by that divide? Go look up documentaries about it. There are people that haven't seen their wife in 60 years because of that divide, the 38th parallel. Imagine you with your wife. This is your woman, okay? This is the one you go home at night and lay down with. You can't lay down with her anymore because the so-called white man wanted to divide land by latitude. You don't want to kill him? I bet you do. They do want to kill him. And Cain knew it, just like the so-called white man knows it, which is why the defense budget is a gazillion dollars a year. As is why they're going into outer space to take pictures of whatever's in outer space, which is why they building more nuclear weapons, okay, than biscuits and Popeyes, because they know that everybody wants to kill them. All right, read on.
Khan. Verse 16, and Cain went, Verse 15, and the Lord said unto him, therefore whoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold.
Whoever slays Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold. Sevenfold. All right. Whoever hurts Cain, whoever hurts the so-called white man, whoever kills a white man, they're going to get punished sevenfold. Okay. There's a rock band called Avenged Sevenfold. Who is in the rock band? Edomites. Who are the Edomites? The sons and daughters of Cain. Okay. That's them. All right. Avenged sevenfold. The Arabs, flew the planes into the World Trade Center towers, right? They knocked those towers down. They killed about 3,000 people. The white man since then has killed 3 million Arabs and counting. That's what? Well over sevenfold. You hurt the white man, he comes down on you with full force. Okay? And the Lord gave him that curse, really. Why is it a curse? Because the white man will be allowed to do whatever in the hell he wants. He will be allowed to migrate to Canada and murder the indigenous population in Canada. He will be allowed to migrate to the United States and murder the indigenous population in the United States and destroy the Venezuelans and destroy the Colombians and destroy the Puerto Ricans. But his vengeance is coming from the Lord, from the Most High. And that is going to be a terrible, terrible day. All right? But in the meantime, a white man shoots into a car 20 times, they give him a slap on the wrist. Better not do that again, Sergeant Johnson. Saw what you did on the force. You cut your body camera off and you ripped his body apart with the amount of bullets you put into it. But don't do it again. Okay? That's all they get, a slap on the wrist. That's from the Lord. And the Lord is going to punish them severely. He's going to cut them off entirely. All right? Whoever takes vengeance on Cain, vengeance shall be taken against him sevenfold. Continue.
Khan. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him.
The Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. What is the mark of Cain? Who knows? The officer Adiyar?
That's the skin, sir. His skin.
Trooper Bakwasha?
I would say the same.
The skin. What about skin? I have skin right now. See my skin? Look.
His skin is turned different than everybody else's.
The skin is turned different than everybody else's. Officer Adiar.
No, sir. The lack of melanin in his skin, sir.
Lack of melanin in their skin. That's all that's on point. When someone has been caught committing a crime, what is a slang term that people use?
Red-handed.
You've been caught red-handed, which means what? You're guilty of the crime you committed. And the red hand is a sign that you're guilty of a crime. It's a sign that you're a criminal. What is a criminal running from justice? A fugitive. Okay, fugitives are, when they're caught, when they're caught in the act of crime, they're caught red-handed. The white man was given red skin. How do you get red skin? You take away the melanin so that it's like they're transparent. Yeah, the water, if you could. The blood shows forth through their veins. That's a term. That's how we break it down in the I.S.U.P.K. The so-called the mark of Cain is the blood that shows forth through the veins of the so-called white man. So-called white man, he gets a little drunk, he turns red. He gets mad, he turns red. When he gets slapped upside the head, he turns red. Who is he? The Edomite. Where does he come from? Cain. What is his skin tone? Red. The white man is the red man on the earth, not the native Canadians, not the native Indians. The white man is the red skin. All right? So you can understand. They're different shades of red. And it's different than everyone else. And it's the reason why it was called a mark, because every race on the planet Earth besides him is dark. Have you noticed that? The Japanese, they got color. Got that little light yellow, like they got, I understand, kidney problems. All right, but they got skin color. The Chinese, same thing. Africans, different shades of brown.
Purple.
Different shades of brown to purple, to like a matte black. Japanese, different shades of brown. Chinese, different shades of brown. Mongolians, different shades of brown. Aboriginal Australians, different shades of brown. The Pacific Islanders, Hawaiians, Samoans, different shades. Arabs, different shades of brown.
Elamites.
Then there's the East Indians. The guy at the Dunkin' Donuts is different shades of brown. Everybody's brown except for this guy. Israelites, Peruvians, Chileans, Negroes, Latinos, different shades of brown. And there's this guy over here who's red. As a race, different shades from the brown, the colored red devils of Sicily and Italy, all the way to the damn near pale albino looking Irish and Scandinavians. All right, that's the mark of Cain. The mark of Cain came back in Esau's complexion. Why? Because it was a mark. It made the news. It was something that was newsworthy. Get me, Officer Adiar, get me Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25. We're going to prove that the white man has the mark of Cain. True Bukwashi, get me Hebrews 7 and 9. Officer Malaki had a question on the book of Hebrews chapter 7 verse 9. I'm going to answer it. Lord's will. True Bukwashi, when you get the scripture, read it. Officer Adiar, hold what you have, all right?
Another one coming.
All right, we're going to get into the mark of Cain. Cain is a vagabond. He's a fugitive. We're going to identify the physical attributes of the true illegal immigrant. All right? But first, Hebrews, the 7th chapter.
Hebrews 7, verses 9.
Go ahead.
And as I say, and as I might say so, Levi also, who received the tithes, paying tithes in Abraham.
Read up a verse.
Verse 8. And here men that die receive the tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witness that he liveth.
Mm-hmm.
And as I may say so, Levi.
Hold on 1 second. And here men that die receive tithes. Who are men that die? The priests, the Levites. At one time, the Levites were the only priests that were priests in Israel. Now, because of Yahushua, every man of every tribe in Israel can become a priest. All right? They were men that died. The Levites were men that died, but they received tithes. All right? And they paid tithes like, but there he received them, of whom it is witness that he liveth. But there he received, or he gave tithes to Melchizedek. All right, he's going to get down into what exactly he's talking about in a few verses. This is talking about when Abraham met Melchizedek on the way back from the slaughter of the 5 kings. It's in Genesis, the 14th chapter, around Genesis, the 14th chapter. All right, he had spoiled 5 kings to help out the king of Sodom, I believe, Sodom and Gomorrah, before Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. When he spoiled these kings, he got gold, silver, etc. He gave a tenth of the gold, silver, etc. to a man named Melchizedek. Melchizedek is Yahweh. Melchizedek had appeared to collect tithes because he was a priest of righteousness. All right, he was a priest that was in the area in Shiloh, which is today Jerusalem. He had taken tithes from Abraham. All right, we're going to get into it. Get on. Read verse 9.
Khan. Verse 9. And as I may say so, Levi also, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham.
Levi, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham. Levi wasn't alive, but he was paying tithes, though he was not alive, the one that was declared, the one that was already alive. You get my point? Levi was swimming around in Abraham, so you can understand. Levi did not exist yet. All right? Jacob didn't exist yet. Israel didn't exist yet. When Abraham came back from spoiling the 5 kings, he paid tithes, all right, to Melchizedek before Levi was around. Now, the Levites, they received tithes. But before the Levites received tithes, Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek, who in the scriptures in Genesis, it describes as a king of righteousness, I believe, or a priest of righteousness. All right? Read on.
Come, verse 10. For he was yet in the loins of his father.
He was yet what?
For yet he was in the loins of his father.
He yet was in the loins of his father. He was not alive. All right? He was not alive. In the end of verse 8, it says, but there he receiveth them of whom it is witnessed that he liveth. He receiveth them of whom it is witnessed that he liveth. Who was it witnessed that he liveth? Yahushua. Yahushua died, and he went back, he was resurrected. All right? His spirit came back into his body, so you can understand. He was dead for 3 days, and he came back out of the damn grave. All right? It is witnessed that he liveth. What is this proving? Melchizedek is Yahushua. All right? He's the one that liveth. He is the one that rose. All right? When you die, your spirit goes to the Most High. You receive your judgment, and your judgment is lived out based on the life that you live now. You are in the truth now because you were in the truth before.
That's right.
You get my point? You found the truth now, whatever you went through before, you found the truth now because you were in the truth before. You're a prophet now because you were a prophet before. The spirit of the prophets is subject unto the prophets. This is not a job that every Israelite can get into. This isn't becoming a plumber. This isn't, getting your clearance to become a cybersecurity analyst. This isn't sweeping floors. This isn't any type of normal occupation. This is an occupation that you're born for. It is your calling. All right? This is your calling. What you do for money is what you work in, that's what you do for money. What your calling is the work of the Lord. All right? Because you've done it before. The brother's question was at verse 10 where it says, for he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. That's what it's talking about. Levi wasn't around. Levi was swimming around in his father's loins. So you can understand. Abraham had Isaac. Then through Isaac's seed came Israel. Through Israel's seed came Levi. Levi was in the loins of Abraham. Why? Because Jacob was in the loins of Abraham. Why? Israel was in the loins of Abraham. Or Isaac was in the loins of Abraham, so you can understand. You get my point? Isaac was a seed in Abraham's loins. That's what it means. Read on verse 10.
Khan Khan, for he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 11. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it
What?
the people received the law, what further need was there for another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek, and not be called after the order of Aaron?
All right, what need was there? There was no need. The order of, if you read down the chapter, it explains it. The order of Melchizedek, or the priesthood of Melchizedek predates the priesthood of Levi, which is why I'm able to teach the class right now. If the priesthood of Levi was still intact, I would not be allowed to teach the class. Trooper Bokwashka would not be able to teach the class because we are not Levites. All right, it would just be Adiyar. All right, it would just be Adiyar, I.S.U.P.K. Canada, and the Levites that were supporting him in Canada. You get my point? But now, because Yahushua, all men from all tribes can teach, and all men from all tribes that are called to be priests and prophets of the Most High, all of us are important, man. All the tribes. All of them. Asher, Issachar, Naphtali, Reuben, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, all the tribes. All right? Let's get it in and let's put this work in. That's what it's talking about. Levi was in the loins of Abraham when he paid tithes, proving that the priesthood of Melchizedek supersedes the priesthood of the Levites. All right? Officer Adiyar, get what you have held for me. The mark of Cain is the red skin that shows the blood that shows forth through the skin of the so-called white man, which is red. Let's prove it. Read.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment.
Right. This is the birth of another future illegal immigrant. All right. His name is Esau. He came out red and hairy all over like a hairy garment. He's hairy all over. Let him take away that Gillette. Let him not shave for a week. He'll grow a bear coat in Montreal. They've been looking for Bigfoot. Let white people don't shave. Let the white man not shave. They'll find Bigfoot, all right. Okay. He'll be walking down St. Catherine. Keep reading.
And they call his name Esau.
They call his name Esau. I.S.U.P.K in the Hebrew, which means wasted away is he. The white man's wasted away. Something lacking in him. He's not quite done. That's why he's trying to constantly get his butt in the sun, okay, to turn the proper color of this earth, which is different shades of brown. He's wasted away. All right, read on.
Verse 26. And after that came his brother out.
After that came who?
His brother out.
After that came his brother out. Keep reading.
And his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
And his hand took hold on Esau's heel. Keep reading.
And his name was called Jacob.
And his name was called Jacob. But
and Isaac was 60 years old when she bare him.
Isaac was about 60 years old. He was getting up in age. Does it mention the physical appearance of Jacob?
Nah, sir.
Why not?
Because it was normal, sir.
It was normal. It didn't make the news. But Esau's birth made the news. Ammonites, Japanese, they brown. This baby that came out, he was red and hairy all over, man. Like what's going on the earth today was going on back then. Meaning what? She wasn't pushing out a goddamn baby by herself in a cave with Isaac. They had midwives, they had doctors, they had physicians and stuff back then as well. This baby comes out. Oh man, I was delivering this child. The baby was red, man. Was? Damn. And that story was passed down until Moses was able to record it when he was writing this down. Everybody understand? Esau's birth made the news. It was a mark. Get my point? It was something that was distinct. Like a mark is distinct. So-called white man is Cain. He is a son of Cain. It's like he's the son of Esau. In that is the same mark that Cain had. That's the mark of Cain. All right. Another thing this proves is Jacob and Esau are not biological twins, meaning or fraternal twins, I believe the term is, where they look exactly alike. That's not what this is saying.
Identical.
They're not identical twins. They're fraternal twins in that they were born at the same time, but they're not identical. All right. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to get this book for you. Again, we love going into the books here. All right, to give you some history, proving the scriptures to be true. Let me get Genesis, the 10th chapter. All right, Trooper Bakwashia. I'm going to get a book for you. All right, it's called Ancient Britons. Wait, Ancient and Modern Britons. All right, by David Mack Ritchie. All right, you can see there's a Briton man. All right, you can see he's black as coal. All right, you can see his woman here, or a woman here, but the man, the knight, is black. All right, that's why they're called. One of the reasons why they were called knights. All right, they were black men that ruled in Europe. It was written by David Mack Ritchie. All right, and I'm going to give you some history about Europe. The so-called white man, he's the fugitive on the earth. He's the vagabond on the earth. All right, he's not even native. He's not native to Europe. We're going to prove it in the book. All right, I'm going to go to page 5. All right, bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Blah, blah, blah. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to read page 5. This is about the third or fourth sentence. All right. Bear with me 1 second. The second type is that of the dark whites, of which he says, under its best form, this type is exhibited by many Irishmen, Welshmen, and Britons, by Spaniards, South Italians, Greeks, Armenians, Arabs, and high caste Brahmins. All right. He's going to go into the different phenotypes that were in ancient Europe. All right. A man of this group may, in point of physical beauty and intellectual energy, be equal to the best of the Xanthropoid. But he presents a great contrast in other respects to the latter type, where the skin, though clear and transparent, is of a more or less brown hue, deepening to olive. The hair, fine and wavy, is black, and the eyes are of a like hue. Give me 1 second. I'm going to drop down here. I am much disposed to think that the melanochroi are the result of an intermixture between the Xanthochroi and the Australioids. Essentially what he's saying is that they found that the origin of many Europeans goes back to a mix between what they call the Xanthochroi, which is just dark-skinned Europeans, brown-skinned Europeans, and the Australioids. Officer Adia, who are the Australioids? Do you know? Who are they talking about? You know?
Was that the children of Japhet, sir?
Yeah, they're Australians.
Gotcha.
So what they're saying is the people that live in Spain, Italy, Greeks, were a mix of the people they call what they call is Xanthochroi, which is just a different shade of devils. All right, and Australioids. Okay, we have been saying the I.S.U.P.K was the original Europeans were the Japhites. All right, and this is one of the books that prove it. All right, said that Australioids are people of Australian stock. Who are the original Australians? Japhites.
Japhites.
What group are they a part of? The Pacific Islanders. What this book essentially is saying is that the Pacific Islanders, the Japhites, were in Europe originally. All right, I'm going to read down the verse. I'm going to get page 6. Bear with me 1 second. Bear
I think so.
All right.
I'm saying it's the wrong person.
This is the last paragraph of page 6 in Ancient and Modern Britons. The same eminent authority states in another place, I shall be inclined to look upon among the Papuan races of New Guinea and New Holland, again, more Pacific Islanders or Japhites, for the nearest allies of men to whom the shell mounds of Europe once belonged. The nearest group of people to the people in shell mounds and ancient archaeological digs in Europe were the Japhites, were the people of New Zealand. The natives of New Zealand were in Europe. Okay? The original Europeans were Japhites. Okay? They were not white men. The Caucasian is not indigenous to Europe. He's a fugitive. He's a vagabond. He's the real illegal immigrant. Europe was the home to the New Guineans, to the Aboriginal Australians, to the Polynesians. All right? I'm going to skip down to verse. I'm going to skip down to page 9. All right? Bear with me 1 second. This is page 8. In his remarks upon the Aborigines of Tasmania, more Japhites, more Polynesians, Mr. Bonwick refers more than once to their kinship structurally with certain prehistoric Europeans. Mr. Carter Blake, a competent judge, describes a skull from a cyst in the Uist Island of Scotland as of an ovately dolichocephalic form and having a narrow forehead with projecting brow like the Tasmanian. I'm going to skip down. The earliest inhabitants of North Britain were approaching to a Negroid or Australian. Okay? Again, he writes, this tribe of Aboriginal Britons must have more closely resembled the Australian or Tasmanian than the Laplander or the Eskimo. The Aboriginal Britons more likely resembled the Australians and Tasmanians. Okay? Get me Genesis the 10th chapter. I want I want Japheth's line. All right? I want the line of Japheth. True to Quashia. All right?
Khan.
Whenever you get it, read.
Okay, as Genesis 10, verses 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Apharax, and Lud, and
Arphaxad is one of the ancestors of Abraham. Elam is the progenitor of the East Indians, the Bangladesh, and the Pakistani, and parts of Afghanistan. There's a lot of devils running around Afghanistan, but the native tribe, the Pashtuns of Afghanistan, are Elamites. All right, keep reading.
Khan. And the children of Aram, Uz, and Ho, and Gether, and Mash.
Right, Aram, the Syrians. All right, read on.
And Apharax begat.
I need Japheth.
Second verse.
Second, okay. The sons of Japheth, this is Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Medad.
Hold on 1 second. Gomer and Magog. All right, Gomer is a progenitor of the original Britons, who, according to this book, according to history and archaeology, resembled physically to the Aboriginal Australians. The native Australians are the original Europeans. The I.S.U.P.K has been saying that since 1969, and your archaeologist, okay, proves what we were saying. All right? Gomer is a progenitor of the ancient Britons, the ancient French, some of the ancient Spaniards, all right, or not Tarshish, the ancient Germans, all right, along with Ashkenaz, all right. Ashkenaz, again, resembled a dark-skinned Australian. The white man calling himself the Ashkenaz, I'm Ashkenazi Jewish, he's not, all right. He's a Caucasian devil. That's what he is, all right. He's an Edomite. The Ashkenazis are not, the Ashkenazi Jewish man is a goddamn liar, okay. The Ashkenazis are the native Australians. The Ashkenazis are the Polynesians. That's who the original inhabitant of Europe is. Ashkenaz is a son of Japheth, okay. And another thing, how in the hell can you be an Ashkenazi Jew? Again, these white people are so goddamn dumb. Ashkenaz is a son of Japheth. Japheth is not a son of Israel. Anyway, read on.
Khan. And Madai and Javin and Tubal and Meshech and Tyre.
Meshech is the ancient name of Moscow. All right, that was a region that was founded by Japhites. All right, blacks, Israelites lived in Russia and ruled Russia for a period of time. We were thrust out by the so-called white man. All right, but Europe originally was a place of the dark races. All right, like many places were, which is why the so-called white man is going around and murdering people across the planet Earth. He's trying to kill off the dark races, all of them, including, you understand, that they're, all right, Israel. All right, because he knows his time is short and his numbers are dwindling. All right. Read that verse again.
Khan. The sons of Japhet, Gomer and Magog, and Madai and Javin, and Tubal and Meshech.
Right, Tubal. That region is now part of Turkey. All right. What are some other names? Magog is the progenitor of the original Russians. The Tartars is their name. All right. Tubal, the Turkey in that region, etc. Keep reading. Let me get with you so I can.
And Tyrus. Verse 3. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz.
Who?
Ashkenaz.
Who?
Ashkenaz.
Ashkenaz is a son of Gomer, you dumb, stupid, so-called white people. All right. What the hell is how can you be an Ashkenazi Jew? You can't. That's a made-up name like Ronald McDonald. All right. That's what that is. That's what that's equivalent to. Ronald McDonald. Okay. Meanwhile, the world's calling him a Jew. Ashkenaz is the son of Gomer. Gomer is the progenitor of the Central Europeans. Ashkenaz is the original Germans. All right. Continue.
Khan. And Riphath and Togarmah. Togarmah. And the sons of Javin.
Javan is the original Greeks. You look up the Ionians. Okay, the Ionians are the ancient Greeks before the Macedonians came to power. Okay, the Persian Empire controlled Macedonia, or modern day Greece, until they let, again, white people into it, which you never can do. You can never have an organization with white people in it because they're going to run the organization. You let white people into your town, your city, the city is gentrified. You let so-called white organization is going on, and they're going to rule it. You understand? The Persian Empire made the terrible mistake of letting white people into their military until one man named Philip reached the pinnacle, reached the top, and his son, whose name was Alexander. All right, you know of him as what they call Alexander the Great. He overthrew Persia. All right, the people he overthrew first in Macedonia were Javan or the Ionians. All right, you can find that in Josephus as well. Read on.
Khan. The sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish.
Tarshish. That's Tharashiash, or I believe the land of, I believe that's bronze. All right, and up until modern times, Spain was known for its metal ores. All right, that Tharashiash, that's Spain. All right, or the Iberian Peninsula. All right, continue.
Shalom Khan. Kittim.
Kittim, Cyprus and some of the Mediterranean islands. Go ahead.
And Dodanim.
Dodanim, they moved to some other Mediterranean islands. Go ahead.
By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided into their lands.
Right. These were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands. They moved to the isles, the Mediterranean islands. All right. The Greek islands. All right. And as well as into Russia and Britain. Okay. So that's good on that. I just want to get into that a little bit on the history, on the proof that the so-called white man, he is not native to anywhere. All right. He is native to Mount Seir. Okay. People look at Mount Seir today as Petra. They call it the Road City or the Red City. All right, because it's the home of the red man. Okay. Any questions online? Or yeah, Aki, you have any questions?
No, sir.
Officer Aya, you have any questions?
No, sir.
True Bukwasha, you have any questions?
Negative.
All right. Bear with me 1 second. Right, there's a synagogue of Satan. I'm gonna post a sign out link. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. That's a sign out link. If you're watching the class, sign in on the damn sign-in link. All right. So I know who in the hell is watching the class. All right. I'm gonna read an article real quick. Again, on the so-called white man being the fugitive, being the vagabond, etc., that he is. All right, we can prove that the ancient prehistoric, meaning pre-Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Greek, the Europeans were Japhites. They were Polynesian islanders. The white out of Europe murdered and killed and enslaved until they ran to their brothers that were in Australia, Samoa, and Hawaii. All right. Now we're going to find out what he's doing to the children of Israel, the children of the Most High Power, down at the Mexican border. All right. This is from Wire.com. How DNA testing at the U.S.-Mexico border will actually work. So the so-called white man, I don't know if you all are aware, but the so-called white man is on a ravenous rampage to make Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians get their DNA test. At first, he started off with 23andMe. Those stupid commercials. I didn't know what I was, so I got 23andMe, and they gave me a affordable report. I'm 23% Dutch, 15% Maboko, 20% Kubidi, okay, 50% man-eater, 10% American, right? And I have 1%. I have 5% unknown. That's crazy to me. You ever seen those DNA test results on YouTube? They always got like a percentage of unknown DNA. We've covered that before. That DNA is a goddamn hustle, okay? And you shouldn't get it because all arrows are going to tell you you're a damn, either you're a European, you're a white man or white woman, or you're African. That's the only place it's going to point you to. It can't point you to Israel because they don't have references of black people in Israel. You get matched to a location, okay, if people in that region have similar mitochondrial DNA, and it's not similar in the sense of this is a match, this is a match. They take 700,000 samples of your DNA and match it with close to 1 million samples of DNA in the region. It is a total random, okay, estimate that they're giving you. That's not giving you a real race or nationality. You get African, you get Niger and Congo. Niger and Congo, there are 30 different tribes in those two regions. All of them hate each other. Which one are you? Not a damn one. Get me Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. If you're listening, do not take the so-called white man's DNA test because he's going to lock up your cousin, okay, for the crime he committed 5 years ago. Okay, that shooting that happened in Toronto, the stabbing, the robberies, they're going to come and they're going to lock Negroes up wholesale from this goddamn DNA testing. All right, because where it's going is it's going to the law enforcement. It's going to law enforcement. All right, they're coming out and saying it recently that the FBI, this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation in America, they may have links, Ashar, to the DNA testing. Oh, yeah? Well, we got links. We don't really want it that bad. We'll just take some of your DNA and match it. This is a plot to get Negroes arrested. All right? It's all it is. What they're going to do is they're going to match DNA to the specific family. They're going to match it to DNA at a crime, and they're going to raid your entire family, finding out who stole from Peaches and Cream supermarket in Montreal. Okay? Read the scripture.
This is Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees by their families,
by their 23andMe,
by the house of the fathers,
by their ancestry.com results,
by the house of their fathers.
Right. They didn't all have a goddamn envelope with 23andMe on it. Hey, Moses, look. Here it is. Cotton swab. And they didn't go get their cotton swab, getting cotton swabs, turn it into 23andMe, everybody. That's not how it went down. Your pedigree, your race, is determined by the house of your father, the seed of your father. Whether you're an Israelite or not is not determined by your hair texture. It's not determined by skin tone. It's not determined by hair color. It's not determined by eye color. It is determined by the house of your father. Your father comes from Negroes or Native Americans of North, South, and Central America. Okay? You are an Israelite. Period. That's all it comes down to. And that's all Moses cared about. Okay? We aren't Afrocentric here where, you got, light skin versus dark skin nonsense going on. All right? Or dark skin versus light skin, etc. Because those are the plots the white man used against us in Haiti. Those are the plots the white man used against us in the West Indian Islands and in America to separate ourselves. All right? And that's not what your damn race is determined by. And it sure as hell is not determined by a DNA test. The DNA test is going to the Canadian Police Department. That's where it's going. All right? It's going to whatever intelligence group they have in Canada. It's mostly going to the CIA, the mother of all intelligence groups, the Central Intelligence Agency. All right? And they're going to lock up as many people in your family as possible. All right? They're testing migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. For what? What are they going to give them their 23andMe? Oh, Jorge, oh, look, it's your 23andMe. You can come work for us after all. The hell, what is it going to show? It's going to get Jorge's family arrested. It's going to get him marked and tagged and watched, okay, like a damn hawk. All right? Your pedigree is determined by the house of your father. Okay? This is as simple as that. All right? Officer Adiyar, you have a topic, a few scriptures you want to bring out from the officer's test?
Sir, I wanted to talk about the woman today, sir.
Come on, 1 second. Get a few scriptures in the woman, and you finish it off tomorrow, next week, with the rest of your breakdowns. All right? Finish it off a little bit early today. Praveen, gene-based DNA ancestry indigenous paternal test is the best one. Indigenous paternal test, gene-based. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, paternal test. All that tests that go into the so-called white man, all of it is false. All right. What is correct, though, is that the paternal test is more valid in meaning who your father is, which is what the scriptures have. The scriptures give the criteria for a true paternal test, all right, which is where your father is from, who he descends from. The Y chromosome, the so-called white man knows, is passed from father to son, and it is damn near unchanged. I'm not saying go get your Y chromosome checked because they don't know how to track that anyway. All right. What I am saying is that the seed from father to son is unchanged even on a genetic level. All right. Read what I call for.
Salak, sir. I didn't hear, sir.
Oh, I didn't call for anything. Salakia. Deuteronomy 10 and 15 also talks about the Lord giving our inheritance based on the seed of our fathers. Your race is determined by the seed of your father. Do not get an ancestry 23 in one report or any of that nonsense, because they're going to try and lock your cousin up. All right? Okay? That's what's going to happen. Officer Adia, you got it. Give me the first three scriptures on women. Then we're going to close it out. All right?
Sir. Trooper Bakwasha, can you bring me to 1 Corinthians 11, chapter 3? I mean, Us in the I.S.U.P.K, we teach exactly what the Bible says. Like the woman should not teach the Bible. Like most people are gonna understand this, and they're gonna say like the woman should shut up and not teach at all. Now she can't teach about mathematics. She can't teach about a subject like if she is a school teacher. But that's not what we're saying. We're saying exactly that when it comes to the Bible, this is a main job. I mean, and we're gonna see exactly why. Go ahead, Trooper.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3.
Sir.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
The head of every man is Christ. Christ is our leader. We follow Christ. Know what I mean? We follow Christ. All of us. All of us in the I.S.U.P.K. Know what I mean? They say, know what I mean? We follow him coming in the General YAHANNA. General YAHANNA is after Christ. Know what I mean? He's our leader after Christ because he followed Christ. Know what I mean? So I could trust him because he's doing the work the same way that Christ did. I could trust him. That is going to lead me to Christ. And Christ is going to lead me to God. You know what I mean? We follow Christ. Christ is our head. Go ahead.
And the head of the woman is the man.
The head of the woman is a man. Now, I mean, the woman should not elevate herself above a man, but she should exactly listen to it. The same way that we listen to Christ, the same way that we follow Christ, the woman should follow her man. She should not follow a boss or a friends, or, you know what I mean, or people in the world telling her what to say or what to do, but she should follow her man. Go ahead.
And the head of Christ is God.
There you go. Now I mean, Christ follow God. Now I mean, Christ follow God, and by following Christ, we actually we get that closeness. Now I mean, with God, we follow God at the same time. Now I mean, that's why we teach in the I.S.U.P.K. But now I mean, the people in the world, now I mean, they elevate the woman more than the man, which is a sin, which is now I mean, not correct according to the Bible. Now I mean, so you could bring me to 1 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 11 to 12. I mean, this is not correct. The woman should not be elevated above a man. I mean, just like the Egyptologists, they elevate their woman above their own self. Now, I mean, they call their woman queen, but she's gonna be the biggest whore out there. Now, I mean, she's gonna have sex with a bunch of men, and after that, coming back like, I mean, nothing is wrong. Now, I mean, but when the woman elevates a man and listens to a man, I mean, that makes a perfect family. She's not gonna abuse that man. She's not gonna trap that man. She's not gonna exactly bring him on child support or call the police for him because she listens to her man. Go ahead.
So 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses
11 to 12.
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
That's right. Now, I mean, let the woman learn in silence. But you're gonna have like woman like Juanita Byman. I mean, she divorced twice, and now she's a lesbian, but she could preach in the church. Now, I mean, she could preach and everything. But we can't have that. Now, I mean, the Bible is against that. Let the woman learn in silence, and that's when it comes to the Bible. That's when it comes to what the law says and what God says. Now, I mean, let her learn in silence. That doesn't mean I can have a woman in school teaching me about science if she's not. I mean, she has the qualification for it. That doesn't mean I can have a woman teaching me about mathematics if she has the qualification for it. But when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to the laws of God, the Word of God, let a woman learn in silence. Go ahead.
Verse 12. But I suffer not a woman to teach.
I suffer not. Go ahead.
Nor to usurp authority over the man.
Exactly. She's emasculating the man when she takes the position of a man. She's like those women in the pulpit, know what I mean, teaching and everything. Look at the men in the congregation. Know what I mean, they're all like, know what I mean, homosexuals, we could say. They're all soft guys. Know what I mean, they're not ready to, know what I mean, go to war. They're not ready to elevate their people because they let the woman take the charge in the pulpit. Know what I mean, but the Bible says, nah, this is against, because you're taking the authority of a man. You're emasculating the man that's there. Know what I mean. I suffer not the woman to teach. It's against the law. Go ahead.
But to be in silence.
But to be in silence. She's supposed to learn in silence. That doesn't mean she can ask questions. She could ask questions, but she's not gonna try to emasculate the guy. I mean, trying to take the lead of the conversation and everything. She will ask. I want to know. So Salaki, I want to know this. Sorry, my Lord, I want to know this. What about this? Now, I mean, in the Bible, that's how the woman should address herself. Now, I mean, she got to ask a question, but she's not going to elevate the voice on the man and everything. Let her learn in silence. Now, I mean, in all subjection. Bring me, was that it on that verse?
That was it.
All right, the last verse you could read for me is Ecclesiastes. I mean, chapter 7, verse 26. I mean, let the woman learn in silence. And a woman that's like that, you're gonna see what the Bible says. Now, I mean, a woman that's like that is precious. Now, I mean, a woman that could that could shut up when it comes to the Bible, like those church women. I go tell them about God. Those Jehovah Witness, you tell them about God or the Bible, what the Bible really says. She's gonna have a fit with you. She's gonna try to devour you in scriptures. Now I mean, thinking that she knows the scriptures. Why she should learn in silence? She should not be in the street. Now I mean, passing flyers. And I mean, teaching about the Bible. Now I mean, but you're gonna see those religions do that, and that's why our women today, they take that same spirit to inside their house. Now I mean, it's like they could tell the men whatever they want to tell the men. I mean, and it's okay to them. They don't realize that you're doing more hurt than you doing good. Now I mean, you're doing more wrong than you're doing good. They don't realize that. Go ahead when you have it.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 6. For as the crackling of thorns under
Chapter 7, verse 26.
26. Verse 26. I applied mine heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reasons of things. Oh, to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness.
Are you on the 7? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26?
First, that was Salaki. That was 25. This is 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snare and nets, and her hands as bands.
Hold on. You know what I mean? There's hold on, so like it. But you know what I mean? There's things that's worse than death. It's better to die than to have a woman, know what I mean, that's gonna trap you. We're not saying that. The Bible is saying that. It's worse than death to have a woman that won't listen to you. It's worse than death to have a woman that's gonna call the cops on you. It's worse than death, know what I mean? To have a woman that will put you on child support. Go ahead.
Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her.
Now I mean, you do what God say, you do what God say, and I mean, and God will deliver you. God will save you from such women. Now I mean, God will expose that woman, I mean, for who she is. But those sinners, those that like the whores, those that like exactly woman, loudmouth woman, now I mean, he's gonna get trapped by her. He's gonna get destroyed by her. Now I mean, that's the way of life. That's what the Bible says. Now I mean, but it's worse than death to have a woman like that. Now I mean. And next week I will bring out the rest of the scriptures and everything. But I mean, that's just to show exactly the place of the woman in the Bible, and all women supposed to stand up like that and to be a model for the other women, to show exactly that all women is not supposed to be whores. They're not supposed to be loudmouth. They're not supposed to take the authority of a man and to go preach in the pulpit. But listen with submission and follow your man. Your man is your head. Your man is your Lord. Now, I mean, the same way Christ is our Lord, your man is your Lord. That's what the Bible says. Now, I mean, and on that, is Officer Albanese here?
Oh yeah, come.
Officer Alban.
Yeah, come. I'm right here, brother. The water. Clap it up. Good work, brother. All right. Next week, Officer IDR is going to be taking the class. He's going to take the entire class in my absence. All right, he's going to break it down for you all the way flat as he did just there. So, with that being said, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General YAHANNA. Also, Officer Adi, I'm going to send you the security announcements. We're going to start announcing them next week. All right. All right. With that being said, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.